fully what Itweka movement is. In every man's life, there comes a moment when one must search for a cause, a work, an ideal under which he must give himself. Whether he says yes or no is a challenge to be determined in the future. There comes a moment when we become tired of trying to fill a bucket that is leaking. From inside, as we must get a new vessel. There comes a moment in a man's life when to get where we have to go, where there are no doors or windows, we must walk through walls. There comes a time in a moment of a man's life when he must choose to stand or run. A moment when you must look up the bench and you have to say to yourself, can't anybody play this game better? And you realize that you must be the one. There comes a time when a decision by a man to get into the arena has often been made by the difference between the greatness or mediocrity of a nation. That is why I am in this. The system is rigged and is broken. It is for the very few. There was a time, as you saw here, my party leader stood up from his offices in Electricity House. He was one of the most successful lawyers at the time. And he came out of his profession to risk his life to fight for the human rights liberation, second liberation, which we have today. Kenneth Stanley Jindo Matiba is another one such hero. This is not necessarily done by the people who are in politics. It takes all of us, especially the young people I see here, to say this time we are going to be involved. No matter what, it is our time, it is our lives. Kenya is a country of firsts. We waged an armed struggle against the British colonialism, grabbing our country. We won. Itweka. We fought single-party dictatorship. We won. Itweka. We fought in peacetime for a new progressive 2010 constitution that secured the rights and dignity of every Mwananchi in this country. We won. Itweka. Our courts, which have been in the forefront of ensuring those rights in that constitution are upheld, protecting the constitution, had a landmark ruling in 2017, where they nullified a presidential election, a first on this continent. We won. Itweka. We also have, for the young women here, kama mumesahau, the first Black African Nobel Peace Prize winner, Wangari Maathai. We won. Itweka. But Kenya is at a peril. Despite all these national milestones, repeated government failures have brought the country to its knees. At independence, we inherited a very dangerous virus, kama hii corona. It has been mutating in every election cycle since 1964, taking different names, taking different colors, taking different shapes. The second generation of the original virus is positioning itself to mutate into a third variant. Virusi, hatari. It is another 60 years of slavery and deprivation in the making. Hatari iko mbele yetu. Our concerns must be with the future generations. The world is changing. What platform are we giving them? The old order must die. It must be wiped out. We must end transactional politics. Itweka. Our country has been mortgaged to crippling debt, killing economic activity, incomes, opportunities for our young people. Our young people have lost purpose. They cannot see their future. Kweli ama si kweli? Kweli ama si kweli? Their dreams and aspirations have been shattered. Kweli ama si kweli? We must never pay a debt that has been borrowed so that people steal. Kweli ama si kweli? Every cent must be accounted for. There's propaganda out there ya kwamba Kenya is the 6th wealthiest nation in Africa. Mumesikia hiyo? Let me give you some bare facts. Out of 17 million employed Kenyans, 17 million, mumeshika hiyo? Only 79,000 earn 100,000 shillings a month. 100,000 shillings a month. That is less than $1,000 ulimwengu. That is 0.5% of the people of the workforce of Kenya who earn 100,000. Sio ni aibu sana? Out of every 100 Kenyans, 53 today cannot put food on the table. Hiyo ni aibu ama si aibu? We are talking about fellow Kenyans. There was a time, it was 38, not too long ago, 10 years ago. In February of this year, in 2020, the central bank governor, ili wasiseme we are distorting their mouths. The central bank governor faulted the country's economic structure, which has been delivering growth without job creation or rising income. Yani unaonesha GDP is rising, but the jobs and rising income do not exist. In 2020, the national census data puts unemployment rate at 39%. Yani, in figures, 5.4 million people do not have jobs. This is quoting a national socio-economic disaster. Kenyans talk about corruption. It is not corruption. This is called state capture. Itweka. Today's Business Daily ya leo inasema out of a survey of 146 countries in the world of unhappiness, yani the top being the happiest, the bottom of 146 being the unhappiest, Kenya iko 119 unhappy. Mumejaribu 119 unhappy. Kwa nini? The biggest single reason is corruption. Corruption. State capture. The state has been taken over by economic terrorists. Washindwe. 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 State capture has not only suffocated Kenyans, it has made it impossible for our small businesses to thrive and grow. It has captured and stolen our health, our education, our livelihoods, our social security. It is parasitic, predatory, virus, virusi. It is cruel. It has no heart. It has no human face. We have suffered the chain of governments and leaders who are oppressive, who do not care, and have exercised very poor judgment. Kenya now is at a pivotal moment. With a unity of purpose, with it defined in its economic and political landscape, This is the defining moment. The country is now in need of bold, visionary, caring leadership. Caring leadership. Itweka. 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 The problems we face are the product of 60 years of political governance failures. In the African culture, Itweka, kwa sababu ni lazima, Itweka is a rebel leadership from one generation to another. When life has become unbearable, see, it's unbearable. From an old leadership to fresh leadership. From old ways to new ways. Na si kubembeleza, najua revolution si ya kubembeleza. We have had a national decline of our nation. The tools of yesterday cannot meet the needs of today and tomorrow. This national decline, rather than national greatness, has spoiled this God-blessed nation. We need a breath of fresh air, of progress and determined dedication in our motherland. We are in the midst of a historic transitional moment. We must chart this radical course. This is beyond business as usual era. It is a moment of bold, forward-thinking leadership. A time to say no more. A time to say resilience, innovation, competitiveness must meet the needs of this nation. That should be the cornerstone of our leadership. Economic security is national security. We must, and we have a decisive obligation to ensure economic inequalities are breached. Social mobility must be breached. There is no point of having a country of 1% billionaires and 99% poor people. Kuna maana? Haina haja hata kidogo. Look at our SMEs. We are going to partner with the private sector to develop a conducive environment for industrial growth and investments in manufacturing. We are going to break down the cost of doing business, improve productivity, and reduce the regulatory demand that stifles the growth of SMEs. Ati unaambiwa you need 1,000 licenses to start your business. This will be record-breaking. In a record-breaking period, will attract new productive investments. A lot of this we'll talk more when we come to manifesto. In agriculture, I want to just explain a little bit here about the disparities. In agriculture, agriculture contributes 34% of what we produce in this nation, GDP. Lakini ni vizuri mjue, kwa hela to the exchequer, it is only contributing 2%. 2%. Over a third of what we produce, only 2% is going to the exchequer. In contrast, manufacturing contributes 8% of GDP. Imeshuka chini. Imeshuka chini. In 2012, it was 17.5%. And contributes 17.5% of revenue. Umeshika hiyo figures? Wana deputy president, najua huku kwenu ni majani chai. Na majani chai nachaka mjue, si mnajua ketepa? Si mnajua ketepa? Ketepa, if you go to where the deputy president comes from, and Isaac Ruto here, Mheshimiwa, you will see the farmers, women and young people especially, picking tea all day, hata kukiwa na mvua. Hiyo ketepa chai goes through a little process in a factory hapa Kenya. Lakini what you don't know ni ya kwamba hiyo chai inaenda Ulaya. Inaenda Ulaya. Inaenda Dubai. From Dubai It comes back in a tea bag ambayo nyinyi mnanunua hapa. Na imetoka hapa. Ketepa tea that you drink, none of it is manufactured here. That is how sad this story is. Very sad. Cheap and reliable energy must be a key driver for economic productivity and competitiveness. We guarantee energy supply, green energy, competitively priced, economically friendly, and meeting a basic requirement for competitive economy. Our energy security will be focused on 4 objectives: secure, plentiful, diverse energy supply, robust, reliable infrastructure, competitive and stable energy pricing. We will aggressively pursue opportunities presented by the global decarbonization agenda, including green hydrogen and its derivatives. An efficient and effective transport system is vital for this economy, and let us get this right. Unajua kuna watu ambao they like to show, kuna showbiz mingi hapa. But I'll just give one small example. We are all in Nairobi here. There are 2 reasons why Nairobi is plagued with traffic. Big traffic problems. Moja ni serikali iko ndani katikati ya mji wa Nairobi. So government services, everybody comes in. The second ni transit, matatus. Ukitaka kutoka hapa Bomas kwenda Embakasi, you must go to the center of town, unabadilisha matatu, unashika ingine. Hapo ni kweli ama si kweli? That congestion causes that traffic. Instead of building a highway in the middle of the city, all we are going to do simply in hivi is do ring roads. Si mnajua ring roads? Ukiwa hapa, ukitaka kwenda Embakasi, you don't need to go to town, unaenda tu. Ukitaka Westlands, iko upande huu. Ring roads solve traffic problems. In China, there's a place called Shanghai. Mumeshasikia huku? Huku Shanghai iko na watu 18 million. Hakuna jam. Hakunanga jam. 18 million. Jam ya saa 3 asubuhi na saa 6 usiku is the same. Kama kazi yako iko 15 minutes away, it is 15 minutes away saa 3 asubuhi ama saa 6 usiku. Umeshika hiyo? Life is the same throughout the day. 18 million people. Sisi ni watu wachache hapa, 4 million. Si tunaweza? Itweka. Nimeona wa vijana wengi hapa. Sasa hii mambo ya bundles na digital na sijui nini, kwa hesabu yetu tumefanya bundles zenu yote to give people 2,000 shillings worth of bundles. Hiyo ni pesa mingi, ni muhimu sana. That is something that is affordable by this country. Because what we want to do, unajua kuna conquest agenda, na agenda ni information. We want you to get bundles because that is where job creation, self-employment, creativity inatoka. Kweli ama si kweli? Kweli ama si kweli? We want the world to download you. Sinyi muna download the world. Munashika? Hiyo ndio conquering huku nje. Isiwe ni kitu ambao nyinyi you are being conquered all the time na information ya huku. Itweka. Hii kitu ni very long. I don't know why they made it so long here. I think I'll give my speech. I want to articulate, kwa sababu the speech is very long. I want to articulate something that's very touching to my heart. You know, we are a country that must today, and from today on, say you cannot be happy when you see your fellow Kenyan hungry. Wajua kimila za zamani, your neighbor never went hungry. The other day, I saw a truck ya food relief ambayo ilikuwa imeoverturn hapo Roysambu. Mliona hiyo? And I saw people in Roysambu going for that food. Na ujue hiyo chakula inaenda kwa wengine ambao hawana. But they are so hungry, na ni hapa tu Nairobi. Hapa. We cannot talk about the pride of a nation when our people do not have anything in their stomachs. Kweli ama si kweli? We cannot. Indira Gandhi in India said the pride of India will only be returned when there is nothing like famine, when there is nothing like a hungry Indian person. And when she did her green revolution in India, today husikii muhindi ambao ana njaa, unamsikia? You cannot even imagine. Those were world headlines just about 30, 40 years ago. Now, the population of that country, not even the landmass of Africa, the population of India is 1.3 billion. Na kuna mtu anaenda usiku nyumbani kilala na njaa. Wapigie makofi wale. Let me talk to our skilled human capital. This is a globalized world. We must think locally. We must think globally and act locally. We have the potential of transforming all our young people's lives. Our education system is one of the highest on this continent. We must bridge the gap between learning outcomes and future challenges. We must recognize this is a rapidly changing world. We cannot have children sitting on stones and dilapidated classes anymore. Itweka! Itweka! To the youth and women of this country, I want to talk to you with my heart. Gender parity and youth inclusion is a fundamental principle of sound governance, fairness, and equity. We will advance gender equity, women empowerment as part of our broader commitment to inclusive economic growth. There's a fair chance for everybody to have their share of our national cake. You are the young people, 76% of the population of this country. Itweka! Itweka! Najua, I was here a little while ago when ANC party leader launched in front of my good friends what he called an earthquake moment. I want to give you the significance of the ark. The significance of the ark. We have committed that this is now the period of economic revolution. Every Kenyan must attain what is guaranteed and enshrined in Article 43 of our Constitution. Your social and economic rights guarantee the following. Amuskize, yani iko kwa katiba. It guarantees food in your stomach. It guarantees and says you have a right to education. You have a right to water and sanitation. You have a right to health. Let nobody act as though they are doing you favors kupatia hiyo nyinyi. This is not about favors. It is your right. It is your right. Noah's Ark came at an interesting period in biblical history. Noah was 600 years old. God released the rains that lasted 40 days and 40 nights, causing the floods. Noah and his wife and sons and their wives, along with animals, were taken aboard the ark. They were spared the flood and survived. But every living thing outside the ark was destroyed in the waters of the flood. The flood symbolizes the turbulent times and challenges a country is experiencing due to greedy and selfish decisions of leaders who lack vision for the future of their country. These decisions have led to the current sorry state of our wonderful nation, characterized by high debt, joblessness, and the high cost of living. These floods ushered in a reset in the world. You heard my good friend Musalia Mudavadi say, earthquake, earthquake. What comes after an earthquake? Tsunami, tsunami. What comes with a tsunami? Floods, floods, floods. Na nani ataokoa inchi out of floods? Safina, Safina, Safina. Let me announce here today that those who have played a part in the destruction of the rule of law, the economy, and the livelihoods, one day will be brought to book and held accountable. Itweka! Itweka! We can no longer stand by and watch passively. The current social contract that has failed and collapsed. As stewards of the people, our leaders have abused the responsibility vested in them at the expense of the citizens. And they are trying to find their way back. A new social contract and covenant must be established for the people of Kenya to move forward to greatness. I conclude. As Safina, this is our social contract and mine. We are committed to renew the social contract for the people of Kenya. Itweka. Itweka. We will rebuild trust and social cohesion, a break from the past. Itweka. Itweka. We commit to strengthen governance and accountability for the sake of present and future generations. Itweka. Itweka. We commit to take the time to rebuild our country after the flood of corruption and